Oh my God, did you think I left? I didn't go anywhere. Listen, I've just been busy and you're going to find out why in this episode. Welcome to the No Tracers podcast. My name is Kay. I am your host. This is a show all about urban exploring. And this week we are back with a guest. We are speaking with Timstagraph, who I haven't had on the show since 2022. That's crazy. Let's get into it. Welcome to the No Tracers podcast. If you've been wondering what goes on behind the closed doors of abandoned places, if you want to know the stories of the people who explore the rot and decay, well, this is the podcast you've been looking for. I'd like to welcome you to No Tracers. Hello. Happy Friday, guys. Welcome back. I am stoked to be back for another one. I know it's been a minute, but we're going to talk about that in this episode. We're going to be talking about taking breaks. We're going to be talking about life. We're going to be talking about injuries with Timstagraph. So I've been following Timstagraph for several years now. He was on the No Tracers podcast back in 2022. I will link that first episode down in the description for you guys. But he is back for another episode. Finally, after all these years, Tim recently got injured while exploring, and so that is going to be the first thing we're talking about in this episode. But before we get into it, if you guys want to follow his journey, while it is slow right now because he is recovering from his injury, you can follow him. His Instagram is down in the description. Along with that are a bunch of affiliate links for gear if you are trying to get into urban exploring or if you're trying to upgrade your gear. I have a bunch of Amazon recommendations down in the description. Those are affiliate links, so if you do use those links, I do get a little bit of the commission, which thank you. I appreciate that. But if you want to further support the No Tracers podcast so we can continue to make great quality content and bring amazing guests to you on the show, there are a couple ways you can do so. You can head to notracers.com/shop and you can pick up one of my 2 urban exploring photography books. You can pick up some cool merchandise. New merch designs are on the way for you guys. There are beanies, duffel bags, hoodies, t-shirts, all kinds of stuff for you guys. Let me know what kind of items you would like. I got some special things I want to put up there in 2025 for you guys, so be sure you lock in, stay tuned, hit the subscribe button. You guys know how all podcasts work, otherwise you wouldn't be here. But yeah, thank you guys for listening, and I'm sorry I've been gone for a minute. I feel like I keep apologizing every time I come back, but you know what? Like, life happens. A bunch of awesome things have been happening, and it's kind of made me have to take a step away from this amazing hobby that I love, and that doesn't mean that I'm done with it. That just means that I got to focus on life priorities right now, but I still love this shit, and 2025, I'm going to do everything in my power to do more traveling, and you're going to hear why I haven't been doing as much urban exploring this past year, or 2 years really, in this episode, so be sure to stick around all the way to the end to kind of get more insights as to why that is. I got really open and transparent, and so did Tim on this episode. So thank you guys for tuning in. If you want to be a guest on the No Tracers podcast, please hit me up at contact@notracers.com or no.tracers on Instagram. I'm also on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. If you want to see urban exploring videos in their full, No Tracers, Urbex on YouTube. But yeah, enough of me yip-yapping. Let's get into the episode. Tim, welcome back to the No Tracers podcast. Let's dive into this, man. I'm stoked. Well, first of all, welcome back to the show. Been quite a while. I obviously follow you on Instagram, and some things have happened, and I think that we should discuss the things that have happened.
I stubbed my toe.
Yeah. He got a little boo-boo and had to get a little operation almost.
What is it, about 5 years ago we did this? That was a while.
Has it been that long? My God.
Yeah, I think it was pre-COVID the last time I was on.
June 2022.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
That's crazy.
Wow.
But yeah, a lot of things have happened, and you know, I think as an explorer, you worry about 2 things, and that's injury and arrest. And, you know, unfortunately, I was, seriously injured about 5 weeks ago. And it's a whole long story. So being able to share it on here is, it'll be interesting.
Yeah. And it's, talking about injuries, it kind of it is a very important thing because like you said, that is something that we do take seriously and think about all the time when it comes to exploring. And you know, if they happen, like they can be super catastrophic.
Yeah.
And
So
if anybody's heard the show, like, you know, there've been crazy injuries that we've heard on this show. And, you know, some people have been unscathed. Some other people have seen their friends get super injured. And when I saw your stories, I was like, oh my God. First
yeah,
of all, like, are you okay? And then, of course, my second thought, like, the asshole that I am, I was like, do you want to come on the podcast?
yeah, no, I actually enjoy your podcast. I enjoy what
Thank
you
you.
do and your approach. So I'm happy to share. I know we talked years ago, but
Yeah.
I kind of get into the injury. So it started. So I'm friends with Chicago Jen,
Mm-hmm.
right? She's like a sister to me, and she mentioned she wanted to go on a trip, and she had a driver. So
Okay.
anytime that I don't have to take my vehicle, which I end up taking my vehicle because it's a Jeep,
Ah,
um, I'll sign up for that. So I left Buffalo, met her in Chicago, and we went from Chicago to Wisconsin. But the thing about the injury is the whole trip was fucked up. Like I shouldn't have been there. And usually when you travel, I can only speak for myself, but when I travel the amount that I do, I have to make sure that things are done at home and
sure.
work before I leave.
Of
Right.
course.
And I should have had conversations or I should have done certain things, but I kind of just left. And
Ah, okay.
yeah, so we hit Wisconsin and we were like 0 for 2 in Wisconsin. This is going in like
Ooh.
midnight on a Friday. So I'm not
Ooh.
pushing it, you
Yeah.
know. And then we drive south down to Indiana or Illinois. And I think we hit like one spot, whatever, no big deal. And
Mm.
then we got a hotel to just crash out, and then we wake up in the morning and I call them headliners. So if I'm on a trip and there's a spot that I really want to see,
Mm.
I kind of build a trip around that headliner that I want to see, right?
Love it. Love it.
So I pull up to the one headliner and I'm in the back, right? Again, she's driving with her girl.
Mm-hmm.
The fucking firefighters are putting the fire out in
At the
this
spot?
at the spot I wanted to see.
Oh, fuck.
This is like 9 in the morning. So if we would have
Oh,
been there like 3 hours earlier, we
yeah.
either would have been suspects or fucking toasted marshmallows.
Woo.
You know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
and like, I'm like, what? This is crazy. Like, I never seen no shit like this.
Mm.
So I just got some video, and I actually want to shout out a couple of people real quick because I got to borrow some of their photos, and that's
Mm.
Phased Out, Mr. Exploratorium, and Ike. Okay,
Okay.
so very, very good photographers, and they actually let me borrow some of their photos. It's on my Instagram. That was the spot that I wanted to see, but unfortunately,
Mm.
it's charcoal now. You know,
Mm.
so we leave that spot, and yeah, I think it was about like midnight, maybe 1 in the morning. But like, can I talk openly on here without getting arrested, or do I gotta like speak in code?
Uh, I don't know who's listening to the podcast. I don't want you to get in any shit. So if you can kind of like conceal it a bit,
All
do
right,
that.
so we pull up to this one spot. It's like 1 in the morning. It's on a dead end road. So like, I got room to work in the back. So like, I
Mm-mm.
go around, I get in the back, and I take the whole shit off the side of it, which is
Mm.
fine. That's like normal.
Yeah.
And I get behind that, and it's a full glass window with a board behind it. And I'm like,
Huh.
dude, like, what the fuck? And I'm thinking, I remember that night thinking, like, do I got to bring like a bulldozer with me?
To get in the
Like,
bitch.
like the whole fucking construction crew?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. So we took that loss. And at this point, me and Jen are frustrated. And
Sure.
I remember her girl asking her, like, are you just mad because you're with Tim? And no, this is like the way it goes. We
Mm-hmm.
kind of struck out so far, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
So,
coming all the way from Buffalo and going all the way
yeah.
down, like that's a lot.
Yeah, like I'll take losses. We all do, but
Sure.
like, the point of how we explore is to limit those losses.
Exactly.
Right? You go out at
Exactly.
night, you check it
Yep.
out, you do what you have to do, and if you explore the way I do, like you get after it.
Yep.
You do what you have to do to get in there
Mm.
within reason, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
So we go to bed, we wake up in the morning, and then there's this one spot in this town that I kind of focused on that had this pool. Okay, so
Mm.
we walk around, we see the door. We got to go down like 12 steps, but these 12 steps have like concrete, like fucking boulders on them. So it's kind of treacherous, but no big deal. You get through the door.
Yeah.
And I'm going to explain this exactly how it happened.
Word.
And I get in first, whatever, just typical. I help her in, grab her bags, and I see the glass area. The pool is behind the glass area. She kind of veers to the left. She walks in first. I'm walking in behind her, and I kind of start veering to the right. About 6 steps, boom, I'm in a hole. That's how
Fuck.
quick. That's how quick it happened.
Wow.
So I've never seen an area where there was a pool in front of a pool,
What?
right?
What the fuck?
Yeah. So there was this beautiful pool at this area, and I'm trying not to use the names. Like I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
want to. I don't want
Yep.
to give that out, but
Mm-mm.
some places have pools. I was looking at the pool, and again, we were like 2 for 6 up to this point. So like
Yeah.
I'm excited. So I'm walking
Mm.
fast into the area
Mm.
where there was another pool with a black tarp over it
Fuck.
with like shit on it. I didn't see the ledge of the pool.
Oh.
My right foot stepped on the tarp, which brought my whole body
Yeah.
down. And there were like boards going across the pool to keep the tarp in place. I extended
Oh.
my elbows out and I caught my body.
Wow.
Right. So now I remember the boards like hit my chest. It was like a thump. Right.
Ugh.
And I would have been fine. But the whole time I look in my left eye, my peripheral, I see my ankle. Right. So,
Oh. No.
so
No.
it's called a MOI. It's like a movement of something. That's like the injury term.
Yeah.
So basically, anytime your leg stays in place and you go in
You keep
whichever,
going.
and I kept going. Now,
Fuck.
here's the good part. If I wouldn't have caught myself, I would have tumbled down to the bottom of the pool and my leg would have came last, which means I probably would have
Your
landed
head first.
on
Yeah.
my fucking head.
Fuck.
If both feet would have went in the pool, I would have caught myself. I probably only would have had a scratch. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So like, it's good and bad.
Yeah.
But the way my leg bent, it bent out and up. So I tore everything on the inner part of my knee, my
Oof.
leg, and I think I have like 10 tears and a bone fracture.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was rough, dude. And then I'm sitting in there and I see my ankle and I hear Django trips over, and it was like a relief. I was like, thank God. So
Wow.
I stand up, and I remember the first thing I did when I stand up is I felt my leg because I was sure there was a bone sticking out. I'm like,
Ah.
there's a fucking
There's
bone
gotta be.
stick.
Yeah.
And the way it broke, it did not. But the doctor said I'm lucky I didn't tear my artery because I would have lost my leg.
Holy shit.
Yeah, so basically you get your artery running down your whole leg. If you sever that,
Yeah, it's
eh,
done.
your leg's fucked.
Holy shit.
So I stand up and I feel my leg, and I'm like, okay, there's no bone sticking out. But then I go into shock.
Mm.
I start sweating profusely.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, yo, I just need a minute. So I had two shirts on. I ripped my one shirt off and I'm like sweating, so I'm patting my face, and she helped me get out of there. But I had to climb through that door, back up those 12 fucking steps
Oh.
with all that shit on there.
Whew.
And her girl pulled truck up. I was like, yo, I got to go to the hospital. It's like, this is no joke. But I even told her, I said, going in there, we accept the responsibility for our actions. And if
Yep.
I fucking die, drag me out and put me on the street because we can deal with the
Can't be in
injury.
there. Yeah.
Nobody's getting arrested.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's kind of where I was at with that. And then we get to the hospital in I think it was Illinois. I was there for about 4 hours,
Mm.
and they did X-rays, which weren't really. They didn't do anything. They
They did
basically,
like ghetto X-rays, like just try
yeah,
to get you
like
in and out.
they put me in like this little brace, and I'm like,
Mm.
okay. So we went. We got Mexican food after that. We got a hotel, and then from the morning we drove back to her house, and then I drove from Chicago to Buffalo, which is about 8.5 hours
No
with a broken.
way.
Yeah. Oh no,
Oh.
it gets better. Uh,
Fuck.
so, but it's my left leg, so I'm able to like
Ah, word.
drive.
Mm.
But I remember on my way home, I'm like, don't drink any water, don't drink any coffee, because I'm not going to be able to pee.
Oh,
I,
right.
I'm not peeing on myself in the car. Like we're
Yeah.
not doing that.
Yeah.
And then I was able to hold it for about 45 minutes till I got to my house, and I'm like, dude, I really got to pull over. And the rest stop that I pulled over at had like porta potties outside, and
Ah.
there was a guy outside. I'm like, I gotta wait till he's done because it literally took me about 30 minutes just to get into one.
Oh.
That's how fucked up I was, and that was probably the most painful it was.
Ugh.
So then I made it home, and being healthcare, like I know how it goes. So I didn't even go to the emergency room. I called the Excelsior Orthopedics right away,
Mm.
and they got me in. But about the third day when I woke up with shingles. So basically,
Holy shit.
I'm telling you. So basically, what that is, and I know a lot of people are gonna be like, "Oh, old people get that," which they probably do.
Yeah, sure.
But when I was younger, I had chicken pox.
Yeah, yeah. So you've already got it in you.
Yes, and
Fuck.
it can stay dormant in
Yeah.
you for the rest of your life. But when you have a traumatic injury,
Uh-huh.
boop, it breaks it open. So now on like the 6th day to about the 20th day,
Whew.
I have a broken leg and shingles on the right side of my
My
body.
God.
So the good news is the shingles went away, and I have fresh new skin on my arm, and that's good. But still, I'm dealing with the knee now. But
Mm.
um, the doctor's not doing surgery right away. I'm doing like extensive physical therapy when I'm being able to move it more,
Mm.
and that's where I'm at. I see him on November 8th, and we'll take it from there. But that's from exploring.
Dude, we've talked like a little bit on Instagram, just back and forth about the injury and like your recovery process and everything, and the fact that he didn't just jump to surgery straight away is
Yeah,
amazing, because a
yeah,
lot of times they do, because obviously they make a bag off of like the recommendation and all that
yeah,
stuff, but the fact that he like gives a shit is like
yeah,
super like respectable, because
yeah,
like recovering from a knee surgery, like you're fucked forever. Like your knee's never
yeah.
gonna be the same, So,
Yeah. Well, he's like the director of the whole orthopedic
oh
clinic.
word,
So the original surgeon that I saw, he came in the room, and like when you think of like a surgeon, you think of this guy. He was like a fucking 130 years old. He was
yeah,
like, real still, real calm. And he
yeah,
walks in and he's like, "You did a number on your knee." And I knew that, I was just waiting for him to be like, "Okay, well, take this anesthesia and we're going to operate
mm-hmm,
on you." And
mm-hmm.
he would have done that. But
Yeah,
I remember he took this pen like out of his shirt and he looked at the chart, and everything on that chart, he's like, "You tore this, you tore this, you tore this, you tore this. But I'm going to refer you to my director because I'm retiring." And then he left. I'm like, "What?"
wow,
I'm like, "What?" And then I remember the first time I met my current surgeon, he's like military. So like he doesn't fuck around.
oh yeah, yeah,
So he pretty much just like comes in the room. He's like, "All right, lay on the bed." And I'm like, "Oh shit." And he starts bending my leg in the same position that it broke.
oh,
And hear me out though, but like it locked in that position again
oh,
because there was nothing on the interior side to pull it back into
yeah,
place. So I'm on the table. I start ripping shit off the walls on accident. I'm like,
oh,
"Dude, like you're killing me." And I see him again on the 8th. And I think my knee's in, a much better place now because of
yeah.
all the physical therapy.
Wow, man. And like when you went to the initial ER, like when you first went to the hospital, what did you like tell them had that happened? Did you tell
Um,
them like you fell through a
n-
pool cover?
no, no. The only people that I tell is in conversation when I know it's safe.
Right. Yeah. So that's always
Um,
like the thing I'm curious about, because like,
yeah.
I've heard crazy shit on this show, and it's like, what do they tell the hospital?
So I basically told them I was hiking and that I
Oh,
said
word.
I said the same position that I was when I was hiking. But once I tell them that, they don't
They
ask.
don't ask further. Yeah. They just like kind
No.
of need a general idea of kind of what happened, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's funny too because my mom, like I'm like my mom, and I told her
Mm.
when I was on my trip, I just didn't want to get into it, and I was like, "Yeah, I was hiking." And when I got home, she's like, "You're so full of shit." She's like, "You weren't fucking hiking, you know." And that's when I had to be like, "Yo, this is why I did
Oof,
this." But people that care about you, they understand.
of course.
In a more professional world, it's probably not the best idea to say, "Oh, I was doing this, this, and this."
Yep.
You obviously want to protect yourself, but first things first, get the fuck out of there
Yep.
and go to the hospital.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
Wow.
where we're at.
Well, I mean, I'm glad for the most part. Yeah, I mean, you didn't, get severely, it could have been way worse. It's
Yeah,
horrible. It's bad. It fucking hurts, obviously. But I mean, I think you got out of there pretty lucky considering everything.
yeah. Especially if I would have landed on my head, like it would have
Exactly. It
been.
would have been done. You would have been done.
Yeah, I
And
would have
I
been
mean, we've
cooked.
heard horror stories, we've all heard them. And it's like, I'm glad that you're like, for the most part, okay, and I think that you'll recover with time. It's like you talked about initially, like you're going to be kind of hobbling around for the next several months, and
Yeah,
it sucks because I know you love this and you got work and you got all this life shit going on, and like that, this has kind of put everything on a hold for you.
Yeah, so
So
like, you grow up exploring, and
yep,
like you don't really think, well, the what if it did happen,
yeah, yeah,
I
because
think
we think we're fucking fireproof.
yeah, so like, you look at the like, well, if I get arrested, it's only a booking.
Right.
Okay, well, what if you fall and hit your head?
Yep.
What if you fall and break your leg? So, like, is there anything that I learned or anything that I am trying to learn even before this process is just having balance?
Mm-hmm.
Like, if for the past fucking 8, 9 years, it's been all exploring.
Yeah.
Like, and do you have money saved up if you get hurt?
Right.
Do you have a plan? And
Right.
unfortunately, our hobby doesn't come with insurance. So, like,
Correct.
if it did, I would definitely sign up for like the gold. But
Facts.
it doesn't. So
Yep.
now, like, I have to take money out of like my retirement, which is fine. Like,
Yeah.
I can work for a long time, but just keep that in mind when you're
Mm-hmm.
going from city to city. Yeah, sure, you get arrested, it's probably minor,
Yep.
but you could get seriously injured.
Yep.
And think about that. Okay, and try to do something about it if you can, just in case you do get hurt. you
Sure,
know
yeah. And I think, honestly, like to be super transparent on the podcast, like I've had, comments on the YouTube channel and everywhere that are like, "Yo, like you haven't posted like exploring videos in like a minute." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, I'm doing like so much on the other side of like my career and like I'm trying to like build this career as a videographer and I'm trying to get like myself in order for my future right now. So it's not that I'm not like trying to explore. It's just that there are other priorities in life right
yeah,
now. It's not that I don't love this shit because this is what I love to do, but we got to find that balance. And unfortunately, like not all of us make money doing this yet, so it's like a
yeah,
building process, a growing process. And that finding that balance is really important. And I think the more that people kind of grow up, the more that they understand that, and the more
hmm,
that life comes in and like takes over a bit, like people understand. And by no way are you or I out of urban exploring. We're just like, for our own reasons, taking a step back to focus on other things. You're focused on healing yourself. I'm focusing on career stuff. So I think people just need to first of all chill and like
yeah,
it's gonna be okay. We're not going anywhere. We're just like
yeah.
we just need a sec, so I
No, no,
think
I get it. And like,
yeah,
me personally, I'm used to like posting shots fucking, pretty often.
sure,
And I think you get used to that sort of format of delivering your
right,
work.
right,
And I have a lot of friends, a lot of good friends in this hobby, so
sure,
that almost makes it tougher for me to stop, because if
mm-hmm,
I'm somewhere with this friend, I already know that other friend who can't go is going to want to go when I get back,
yep,
so
yep, yeah,
um
yeah. And it's like I know you've probably had some other shit planned for like fall winter kind of exploring, and I had a big road trip coming up that I was stoked for, and then got asked to go be in a movie in the UK, and I was like, look guys, like I love y'all and I love that you guys should still go do this trip. I just got to go do this other thing because it's a
yeah,
great opportunity for further things in my life. So like
absolutely,
but like still go, please. Like don't cancel anything. Like fucking you guys should for sure go. And
yeah,
people might be a little upset at that or whatever, but it's like you got to understand that like I also have a life that I got to maintain and like progress as well outside of this hobby because like I said,
I
like I
agree.
don't make money doing this shit. I do have like photo books and whatever, but like that's small potatoes compared to acting and being in shit and touring with my band, you know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah, no, absolutely. That
yeah.
that that balance is key. And again, like,
Yeah.
contrary to what people think, I'm almost 42 years old, Kay.
Sure,
Like,
sure.
I need to find that balance to where, like,
Yeah.
okay, I can travel, but also too, if you're if you don't travel with like a significant other, that
Mhm.
creates a whole different problem,
Yep, yep.
because you see these couples traveling,
Yeah.
and it's almost like, oh wow, they have it made. They can explore together when they want,
Mm.
or if they don't want. But if you
Mhm.
don't do that, and you have like your personal life and you have your exploring life, you got to balance that fucking thing.
For sure.
And
Absolutely.
that's kind of where I'm at now and going forward. I don't know what exploring looks like, but I can tell you this. I'm sure I'll be doing it again, you know.
Yeah,
um,
it's not something you can just like easily walk away from, I think.
yeah, but I think it would be selfish of me to even think about doing that right now, because
Sure.
if I had a family member that almost got killed doing it and is already
Yeah.
talking about going back on there, that seems kind of dumb, you know.
Yeah, 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 for sure.
But
Absolutely.
I am doing research.
Let's go.
I always do research, but the
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
with my research is like it pisses me off because I find all these places and I don't do research just to do it. You
Well,
know,
yeah, of course.
it's where I'm gonna go. So before
Uh-huh.
I know it, I'm looking at research, and then I'm looking at hotel rooms, and I'm like, dude, I gotta stop. Like
Yeah. You're like
this is
making a
stupid.
routing and shit. Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
texting my friends like, hey, listen,
Hear me out. Hear me
now
out.
hear me out. I know it's been a while,
Yeah.
but
Oh, that's
yeah,
funny.
I just love, you get used to researching.
Mm,
And again, I have so many good friends as this. Sometimes I don't have to research, but I
yeah,
enjoy it.
sure.
So, being able to find these places, and the thing with me and my research is like I have about a group of 5 or 6 where like it's transparency. I don't give a shit what you know and what you don't
Yeah,
know. So like if I find something, I'll send it to them and just be like,
sure.
yo, look at this. So
Sure.
it's
And,
definitely keeps it fun.
yeah, and it's interesting. Like I'd love to talk about like the kind of the ebb and flow of like the environment of urban exploring. So specifically, like new spots popping up, which is an interesting sentence because like they're obviously old places that are abandoned, but for us, they're
Yeah.
new spot. You know what I mean? They're like a
Yeah.
new location, and then the demolishing of like the beloved spots as well. You know,
Yeah,
like the loss.
I think the longer you do this, that's just how it goes. But
Yeah.
I think as explorers, you're always wanting, and you date back to when explorers found like territory.
Right. Right.
You want land, you want spots that nobody knows about.
Of course.
And I'll be honest, if I see somebody I really don't like in a spot, I probably don't even want to go there anymore. You
Yeah.
know,
Sure. Sure.
I don't say that, but like,
Yeah.
you want to find these spots. And again, say you take 10 spots, say you find 10, maybe 3 are really good,
Sure.
4.
Sure.
But, sometimes my inner explorer just takes over and listen, I just want to be with my friends and hit spots.
Yeah.
Sometimes if I go to Detroit, like I'll run through
Yeah.
20,
Oh yeah.
10, 20 in a day. I don't give a shit what they
Yeah.
are.
Yep.
But I guess if you're doing research for new spots, that's what you're looking for.
Exactly. Exactly. And there's some stuff that's popped up here in my area that I'm like kind of stoked about. And then yesterday I found out that this iconic mansion with these like beautiful iridescent ceilings just got demoed and I'm like, "Oh, my heart,"
Now,
but
now you're gonna see everybody post it.
oh, well, yeah, of course. I
Yeah.
posted it yesterday. I was like, rest in peace. Like, like
Yeah.
it's been real. But of course now everyone's like gonna post it, which like is, that's a part of it. And like
Uh-huh.
now people feel like they can, they don't
Yeah.
have to protect that spot anymore. And one of the other ones that is gonna be demoed that we finally got word from like the city is the Six Flags in New Orleans, which is of
Yeah, I
course
saw
on
that.
everyone's fucking bucket list, right? And so
Mm.
I hit up Nola Dige and I was like, yo, I'm thinking about coming down, like just driving down. Like, what do you think? And he was like, well, let me drive by it real quick and see what's up. And so he sent it, like went on a drive, went past it and sent me a video out of his car window. And like, you can see like the security posted out, and he's like, all right, so security's ramped up. Looks like they already have the like bulldozers and the machinery inside the park, which means there's more cameras, there's more security. And he was like, but let me like hit up a couple people that like know some more info about the park. So we ended up getting in touch with like the project manager, and that guy was like, yeah, you guys can come in and check it out, but you have to hire a trapper because there's wild animals in there, boars,
What?
alligators, all. Oh yeah, no, it's fucking crazy. So he's like, you got to hire a trapper. That's gonna be $500, and then you can explore, but it's gonna be $5,000. And we were like, y'all can go to hell. That's fucked.
That's when I
Five
turned.
grand, bro.
That's when you just turned into a professional trapper.
Yeah, I'm like, but yeah, exactly. I'm like, I can get a gun. Like, what you mean?
You pull up there, you
Crazy.
got the fucking African lion
Yeah.
safari fucking suit on. You got an elephant gun.
And like a,
I'm here
chicken
for the
cage.
gators.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, you said, I heard you need a trapper.
Y'all need a trapper.
Y'all need a trapper. I'm fucking here for it. Yeah, no, there's got to be a way. But yeah, I
No.
guess they're gonna demo that, and it's R.I.P. to the Six Flags, the iconic Six
me
Flags,
me
man.
personally, Six Flags, I don't, although it is a Hall of Fame spot,
Sure.
for me it just seems like it's everybody's Super Bowl, you know.
Yes. Yes. Exactly.
And I've never even thought about going down there, you
I see.
know.
The only reason I thought about going down there is like my mom's from not New Orleans. My mom's from Louisiana, and like so there's like a
Nice.
family tie there, and I've like
Yeah.
always wanted to see it just for my own self. But even before I was in urban exploring, I just knew about it because of Katrina
Yeah.
and all that shit. And so I was like always kind of fascinated by that spot, but just never sent it. Never went down there, and like
Yeah.
kind of have a little regret not doing that. But I mean, there's a million other fucking theme parks that you can go
Yeah.
to.
So my research, if I would think about Six Flags, you think, okay, this is a little tip for everyone if you don't know. They were affected by a hurricane.
Yep.
Okay, so that means a lot of other places were affected by that
Yup.
hurricane. So if you dig a little deeper, you're going to find places similar to that that maybe less people know about, you
Yep.
know. And I
Maybe
know
some
there's,
hospitals, maybe some other stuff they got going
yeah.
on.
So again, as a researcher, follow those storms, and
Yeah.
there's been a lot of storms. So
Oh yeah.
you can find stuff if you just know how to look. But as far as
Yep.
Six Flags is concerned, it's like I don't know. It just always seemed like that's the place people go down when they want to be an urban explorer. You know,
That's like the
that's like,
staple. The
yeah,
staple.
that's like the Mecca. Now it is
Yeah.
beautiful,
No,
and
it's
given the
gorgeous.
opportunity, I would shoot
Sure.
the shit out of it.
Of course.
But there's a million places between me and there that I would probably rather see.
So true. So
You
true.
know,
Yeah.
so.
So for you, like, what are some of your like more Hall of Fame spots, like in your personal
Oh shit!
world?
So I've been taking notes on exploring for about 10 years.
Hmm.
Um, so being from Buffalo, first of all, I collected cards as a kid, right? So if
Okay.
you collect cards, kind of similar to these spots,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, these are the spots that I always looked at, like, wow, I really want these, and I was able to get them. So the first spot, being from Buffalo, is the psychiatric center in the terminal. Um,
Wow.
I think being from Buffalo, one of those two places started you off with your curiosity of exploring.
Sure.
Right? I don't see how you couldn't. I know the Psych Center does that Kirkbride tour thing where everyone and their mama and a camera comes and they learn about it, which is very cool. I'm not one for tours, but I
Sure.
can appreciate why people do it. And for
Yeah.
me, like I said, being from Buffalo, those two spots are world renowned.
Hmm.
Um, Linwood Hall.
Sure. Sure.
That, the Titanic mansion, I'm
Yeah.
sure
Yeah.
it's not what it used to be. I hear all it's, someone owns it, this, that, but
Right. 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 Right.
that was a place that you had to see, you
Sure.
know. This next spot for me, I don't like, but that doesn't mean other people don't like it, and that's Hudson Valley Psych.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's a fucking death trap. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how people haven't gotten fucking killed in there. And like, if we're talking asylums, like, I just, me again, my opinion, I don't know why everybody loves it so much.
I think
Nonetheless,
it's the history kind of and like I don't know. I've never been to it, but I know of course I know about it, but I
yeah,
think it's just one of those places that like people want to check off their list.
yeah. And again, I checked it off mine, so I
Sure.
guess, it's easy for me to say I didn't like it, but
Right.
I know a lot of people really love it. So nonetheless,
Mm,
it definitely is up there.
yeah.
Um, when you're going grocery shopping and you're in that line and you see those magazines of abandoned places,
Yes.
this place is where I found that, and that's the church in Gary, Indiana.
Oh, wow.
So if you like churches, whether you don't like churches,
Yeah.
this place is like being in a movie set. And
That's
for
crazy.
me, the first time we went there, we were just passing through, and
Mhm.
I'm in there, and the sun was setting, but you could see it through a window at the end of it. And I'm like,
Wow.
what are the chances of that? So like
Yeah.
one of those spots where you pull up, you want to see, and then there's that little bit of magic where you're able to capture,
Yeah.
and it's almost like that shit was doing it for you. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I was
That
able
building
to
speaks
have
to
that
you
moment.
for sure.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I tried not to give this name out because I want to respect the area, but there's a theater in the New England area. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's the ornate details and just the whole experience. I was able to go like 3 times. If you know what I'm
Mm.
talking about, I'm sure you agree. It's when it comes to theaters, I don't know of a better theater. I think we
Yeah,
spent like
I
five
think they
hours
are
in there.
special.
Yeah. So,
Wow, that's
yeah, that's
amazing.
the
Holy
second
shit.
time we were in there for about 5 hours from like 12 a.m. to like 5 a.m. And like the
Wow.
last 2 hours, I was just sitting there, just watching my friend shoot,
Yeah.
Very magical moment. There's an
Yeah.
autopsy theater in DC. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for
That
sure.
one. That's another, grocery store. You're in the line looking at the magazine.
Yeah.
These spots for me, I don't care who went. I don't care how long they've been abandoned. I
Sure.
don't care what they look like. It's just being able to see it in person
Yeah.
is like, wow, I'm here, you know?
Right.
And that's definitely one of them.
Yeah, that spot's cool. I mean, just like even like the old curtains and like the patient rooms, like that whole place. I've never been, but I've of course seen
Yeah.
mad
The green the
photos.
the green one.
Yeah, yep. Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's a very cool place and I would love to that one and the clock tower. Have you been in the clock tower over there?
yeah. Is that still a thing?
I think they made it like super hard to get into now.
Yeah.
But that's one spot that I was like dying to shoot a music video in.
Yeah.
But it's like the last time I was close to it, one of my homies was like, "Yeah, don't even like people just got arrested yesterday. Like, don't fucking send it right now. Like, it's hot, like
That
super
was
hot."
like a flavor spot for like 2 years, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
no, it was popped off for a bit.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But it
They
was
always
one. It
hear
was one I
like
wanted to do.
governmental property, and you're like, oh
Yeah, you're like,
shit,
oh, stay the fuck away from that. Not trying to
you
get a
know.
federal offense
Um,
here.
I have three more. Curvy Church, you know that one?
Oh, of course, St. Curvy. I got a photo
Yep.
printed on my wall, brother.
Yep, it's Curvy Church, a beautiful place. Two more.
Beautiful.
Ohio State Reformatory, and I know it's a
Okay.
tour, and I can
Yeah.
blow this name up, but like if we're
Hmm.
talking like decay and history,
Hell yeah.
it's fucking beautiful there,
Yeah,
you
I mean
know?
that one in like Eastern State, I think is
Yeah.
gorgeous because they kept it, damn near how it was, dude. And it's
Yeah,
like
and I
good
know
spot.
some people are like, "Oh, I don't do tours. I don't do tours." Let me tell you this: some of the best prisons in the country are
Mm-hmm.
tours, right? So,
Facts.
like,
Facts.
swallow your pride,
Yeah,
go
just
buy a
fucking go.
ticket, and like you could shoot it with like your music in your ear.
Exactly.
You don't
Exactly.
have to worry about getting hurt,
Anything.
arrested. And
Yep.
sometimes when I'm on a trip, when I hit like three spots where I almost have a heart attack,
Yeah.
I like having that break to
Sure.
just chill out.
Yeah.
And then lastly, I don't know if you've been, but the Volkswagen Graveyard.
I have not been to the Volkswagen graveyard.
Yeah, so little story about that place. I think the second time that I went, and I heard the owner died. I don't know if it's true. I haven't been
Oh.
there in years. But I'm leaving, and I kneel down to take a photo, just random, of the back of this one vehicle, and I
Oh.
notice the bumper sticker. It says Neary's Automotive Repair, and I look at it. I'm like, well, Neary's my last name,
Yeah.
right? And I'm like, what the fuck? And like, out of all the cars to look at,
Yeah.
that's my name. And like, I remember I was driving home. I was like, man, what are the chances of that?
Yeah, and that's not like a Smith or like a Johnson.
Yeah.
Like that's like a specific unique name.
Yeah. So I took a photo of it. And I remember, like, you get signs. And I don't know if you
Sure.
believe in that, but
Sure.
what are the chances of that happening on my way out when I wasn't even
Yeah.
going to take that way? I was just like, let me go over here.
Mm-hmm.
So the Volkswagen Graveyard, that kind of those spots there. And again, if you're a fan of these places and get to see them, that's great. But my
Yeah.
opinion, of course, these places you have to see.
Yep.
And it's definitely a beautiful thing to be able to travel these places and see them and
Mm.
shoot them at a high level.
Yeah, definitely. And something that I just recently got into was actually film photography.
Nice.
Kind of I was on a trip, well, a work trip in Greece actually, and we had like a couple hours to kill before the event that we were going to shoot at, and so we went to like a random street market. They were having like a street fair. What it was like the weekend, so I guess it's like their normal like Saturday Sunday kind of thing. And so we're walking around just looking at trinkets and like all the random shit that they sell, and I come across this camera and I'm like, yo, this is
Yeah.
fucking cool. Like I didn't know anything about it, whatever. And the guy was like, the guy's mom that was like, manning their little station. She was like, oh yeah, like it turned out to be like $100 US. And I was like, I don't have that much cash on me. And of course I'm, not carrying USD. I'm carrying their currency, but like the equivalent of. And I was like, yeah, I don't have that much. And so I was like, thanks, like, sorry about it. I only have like $50, like the equivalent of like 50 US bucks in cash on me at the time. And she was like, oh, sorry, and I was like, no worries. So I kind of walk away. And then all of a sudden I get a tap on my shoulder, and it's her son. And he's like, please take this camera. Like, I've been trying to get this to somebody that like would care
Nice.
for it. Like, here, like, I'll take $50 for it. Please take this. And I was like, all right, word. So I take
Yeah.
the camera, do some research on it. Turns out it was created, my specific camera was manufactured in 1971 during the Cold War era. The Soviets moved their camera manufacturing to Kiev, Ukraine,
Oh,
and
geez.
made these cameras. And that's where this camera came from. And I was like, wow, the history of this is just wild. So I just shot on it for the first time ever at a rocket launch down in Texas. I shoot at the SpaceX launches. So I shot on film for the first time. No fucking idea what I'm doing. Watched a ton of YouTube tutorials. 2 of my rolls got destroyed because I didn't really know like the process of everything.
Yeah.
Third and final roll, there were like 6. I only took like 6 shots. They all came out perfect.
They came out good.
Came out good, dude. And I was like, yo,
Nice.
this is sick. So now I like bought some more. Now that I kind of know the process and like how to
Yeah.
use it and stuff, now I want to take that into bandos and like do some like film, like some one-of-one super unique look film photography. Like, I'm so into it now, and I just want to shoot everything on film.
Yeah. I have a good friend. His name's Vlad. He's a photographer out of all my friends that I shoot with. He's a full-time photographer. Who basically pays his mortgage with his
Sure.
camera.
Sure.
And he's so creative, and he's quiet though. So because I know if
Word.
I had 7 cameras in my bag, you're gonna know about it. He's
Sure.
pulling out these cameras while we're
Yeah.
shooting, and he's got Polaroids on
Yeah.
film. He's got all these film cameras,
So
and
sick.
I'm just watching them in the whole process, and it's very peaceful to watch.
Yeah, it's very.
You know?
It's because you're not just like run and gun, like blasting
Yeah,
off 1,000 shots. Like, there's no high speed. No, you gotta like sit and breathe and take your time. And it's like a beautiful, peaceful. Like, there's a whole other side of photography that I'm like falling in love with now. And I do
yeah,
this for a living. This is my job, full time photo, video, drone. Like, this is what I fucking do. But now this film camera has like giving me a chance to like sit back and fall in love with photography again. It's beautiful, dude.
it's definitely art. I
Yeah.
think if I had to compare, like I'm the least technical photographer I shoot
Sure.
with. I don't use a tripod.
Sure.
I have a nice camera. I have light panels, and if shit hits
Yeah.
the fan, I'll just use my phone. But
Sure.
I'm watching some of these photographers, they open their bag, they unpack the film, they're putting it in there,
Mm-hmm.
and like he can't miss because each photo's a certain amount of money,
That's all you
you
got.
know.
Yeah. You got
And
36 shots. That's it.
meanwhile I'm over here laying on the floor slapping fucking shots at the ceiling, worried
Word.
about getting killed or the police coming,
Yeah.
like but it's a very peaceful experience. But some
Oh,
of these
yeah.
photographers, like that for me is like a photographer creating those memories. And
Yeah, dude.
Vlad's got like thousands of Polaroids, and
Mm-hmm.
that's a skill all in itself.
Yeah. It's definitely like a huge learning curve if you come from the digital world. It's like
Yeah, for sure.
massive. Just the technique and like the process of loading and unloading film is like it's a whole thing in itself. Because if you do it wrong, you destroy your shit. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
no,
It's like
absolutely.
formatting a memory card. It's like
It's
done.
crazy, dude.
It's crazy, bro. I
Takes
love
like
it.
20 minutes just to load the fucking thing.
Yeah.
Another hour and a half. He's
Yeah.
standing behind that curtain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, this is not working right now.
You're
Like,
like, we are in a fast paced go, go, go environment, and you're
yeah.
taking 30 minutes to set up a fucking camera, bro.
But to each his own. I
Sure.
definitely appreciate the art of it, and that's definitely the true form of photography. That's where it was before
Mm-hmm.
we got our fucking digital cameras.
Yeah, dude. And like to print out these film photos, dude, it's so sick. It's so sick. I printed out like a 30 by 40, and it's behind me on my wall right now, of this rocket booster on film, bro. It's so
Nice.
fucking sick. And like, that's the cool thing. Like, I decorated my house with all my like Urbex, like all my own photography. Because like, that's why else do we do it?
Yeah,
Like,
me
I
too.
feel like people forget to like print their shit out, and it's so
I
important.
put all my photos in my house, but they're just selfies. You know what I'm saying?
Word. People come over and they're like, this guy is
The emotions of
fucking what?
Timstagraph in the hallway.
The emotion. You could do a whole art gallery.
Could you imagine? But no,
Yeah.
I think I have like 20, maybe 30 in my house. But I
Yeah.
also have them from friends, and
Sure. I
It's
think
one
that,
thing
yeah,
to share your photos on the internet, and
sure.
that's great, right? We all love
Yeah,
that, but
yeah.
it's a different thing to actually get them professionally done, matted,
Exactly.
framed,
Yeah,
and
man.
see the reaction when somebody pays for it and loves it.
Yeah. And I tell
Because
people all the time, they're like, I get people DMing me, they're like, yo, like, tell me about like the process of doing your photography books for like the urban exploring stuff. I want to make one. I'm like, well, the process of actually putting the shit together is like, it takes a while to like, design the layout and do all the stuff in
yeah,
Adobe Illustrator, whatever. But like, and so that's like, 50, 60 hours of like curating the content, writing the stories, whatever,
yeah, yeah,
and then you pay to get the shit printed, and like, so by the time it's all said and done, you've spent like 1,000, 2,000. It depends on obviously the quality you want, the amount of books you want, whatever. And I tell everyone this: selling my photography books is the least profitable thing that I do, but I get the most fulfillment out of
sure,
signing them, personalizing them, and sending those out to people, because I think that to have a
yeah,
tangible item that people can put on their coffee table or on their bookshelf or wherever,
absolutely,
I think there's something so special about that. And that's why, like, I make a point, if I have somebody on the show that has prints for sale or that has like photo books, like, I try to like not only promote them on the show, but I try to get one myself, because I love sharing other people's work as well, because I think it's
yeah.
so special, man.
No, it's beautiful. So I have like 100 varied size prints that I do for galleries. So basically, I
Mm,
have a show. I'll set them up. Yeah, I make some money, but like it's
sure.
cool just to do that. So my prints have been in this one gallery for about 4 months now.
Nice.
And I think I've been just traveling so much, I haven't really sat down to focus on that. I think
Mm-hmm.
maybe 2 years ago, I think I had like 4 galleries in a year.
Wow.
Um, but it's just been travel. That's kind
Yeah.
of where I'm at.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I'm sure things will slow down a little bit, but having
Sure.
those human interactions and having people buy it and put it up on their
Mm-hmm.
walls, I don't know if there's anything better than that as a
Yeah.
photographer.
For
You know?
sure. I mean, that's a big part of it, and I think it's so special when we can share something like that with people and the stories behind it, and
Yeah, I
something I
agree.
really want to do in 2025 is do more gallery showings and do more art shows. And there's a bunch of like oddities expos that travel the country. I'd love to like hop on a couple of those dates and showcase some stuff. And I think it's something I really want to focus on. And over the past 2 years, I've been trying to like kind of recover from some like financial bullshit that I was dealing with. And I think I'm getting into a place where I'm like ready to kind of reinvest back into like shit that I love to do and
Yeah.
travel a little bit more and like do stuff for me now that I'm like kind of getting myself like back where I needed to be. So that's the other reason I
Nice.
haven't really been like traveling and doing urbex for like pleasure in the past 2 years, is because I've been dealing with shit on my side that I haven't
Yeah.
really talked about on the show, because like nobody gives a shit. They just want to hear about the stories and hear about the
Yeah.
adventures and blah blah blah. But this is like the real shit behind urban exploring. Like, life gets in the way and shit happens, and I think it's important to also talk about that side of things.
Yeah. No, actually, I shoot with people, and again, some people are older,
Yeah.
and I think there's a beauty in shooting with someone that has been through it.
Mm-hmm.
They've been an explorer for 20 years,
Mm-hmm.
and they kind of figured it out, you
Yeah.
know, rather than meeting someone that's like, I'm exploring every day, all day long. And that's
Mm-hmm.
great because I was that person at one time too.
Same. Sure.
But you you meet that explorer that's been going through it and got through it and figured it
Mm-hmm.
out as soon as you start talking to them.
Yep.
And for me, that's kind of where I'm at. Figuring all that out, moving forward.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Well, hey, first of all, thank you so much for coming back on the show.
Yeah,
I hate that it took us so long to do another one of these, but I mean, like we've said this whole episode, life has happened, and we've done so much over the past couple of years, and so it's great to
yeah,
reconnect with you.
for sure.
You got anything else you want to share with the audience
Yeah,
before we
I
wrap
got.
it?
So I got about 10 years of stories. This would probably be like a 10-part miniseries if we got
Yeah,
into them all. But
sure.
I just want to share one more with you.
Yeah, please.
So again, these locations are left out. So I believe we're in Montana this trip, and it was about midnight, and we were driving. It was about an hour and a half between each spot.
Mm,
And I'm in the back. I got my friend Todd, TMD,
Yeah, oh
and
yeah.
his friend in the front, and we're pulling up to the spot. And I was sleeping. I told him, if you need me, tap my knee because I'm sleeping. And I knew what I had to do when we when we pull up to the spot. I got to open it, right?
Yeah.
So I remember I was kind of drifting in and out. He taps my knee. He goes, "Timmy, you're up." I know what that fucking means.
That means you're the
And
crowbar. Go get it.
and I get out again. It's like 1 in the morning.
Huh?
So I start trying doors around this whole place. I get to this one door. I pull on the door. I rip the fucking handle off. And I'm like,
Perfect.
okay, I didn't mean to do that, but
Yep.
set it down, walk around the whole spot, come back to it. And I was like, all right, pop the trunk. So I get it and start gutting the whole thing out. And I got my whole hand in there. And I remember pulling on it and like, man, this is not opening. This is weird.
Mm.
So with my arm, I got my whole arm. You ever see that one video where that dude's breaking in the house and he's got his whole arm in the mail slot and the guy comes up with a baseball bat? You ever see that
Uh-huh.
video? I
Uh-huh.
was I was thinking that was going to happen to me during this thing because
Woo.
that's how I got my whole thing in there, and I remember feeling a bar going across the inside of the door,
Uh,
but I can only feel it with my fingernail because I'm on the outside.
yeah.
So with my fingernail, obviously I had to take a few breaks here and there because I'm bleeding all over the place.
Yep.
I'm sliding it over,
Oh
and I'm
my.
like, this fucking thing's moving.
Yeah.
Take a little break. I remember I had to wipe the blood off the door because it's jagged ass metal.
Yeah.
And I do it one more time, and I hear ping. That fucking bar hit the floor.
Oh shit.
And I remember I opened it up. I swear it was like the light of God came out. And I look over to my friend. And I remember him going, "Oh, you're so fucking good." And I'm thinking, I don't know if this is something we should be talking about. We're good at.
Uh-huh.
So I go back in the car. I'm like, guys, it's good. So I sent them in to look at it, make sure we're good, and they came back. We shut the door, and we came back in the morning
Mm.
to hit it. But
Mm-hmm.
if there's one thing that I am good at, you break exploring down in three things: the photography, research, and just your overall exploring knowledge,
Sure.
which I was doing really good at until like a month ago.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but the thing that I love the most about this is when it's time to get in there. I don't, you keep your photography. That's great. I'm a good photography too, but when it comes to approaching the place, that's probably my favorite thing to do. So we
Mm.
went back in the morning, shot it, and it was really amazing just to have that experience and being able to look back at that and seeing how hard you worked for that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure we'll remember that forever.
Sure. And you know what's interesting? I think everybody, whether it's spoken or not, ahead of time, I think everyone kind of falls into like their role in the urban exploring like
Absolutely,
group. Like whether you've met for the
absolutely,
first time or you've been
yeah,
exploring together for years, everyone's got their fucking role. I'm always like the lookout, last one in, last
yeah.
one out
But
every
here's the
time.
thing. Here's the thing with the lookout. Like I'm not doing that shit without one. You know.
Facts. I mean, it's so important. Like, if you're
Yeah.
going to be jumping fences, if you're going to be trying to move, pulling boards back, you got to have somebody.
Oh, absolutely. So I'll stay on the phone with them,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes we have two lookouts.
Yeah,
Or my thing is we need to see them before they see us.
absolutely.
I can talk my way in, I can talk my way out if I have
Mm-hmm.
to, but when you're pushing it, and I can
Mm-hmm.
recognize who pushes it and who doesn't, just
Sure.
just based off their shots. And it's if you're gonna do it, make sure you're safe, make sure you're
Yep.
respectful. You know what you're in there to do, and then you get the fuck out. And
Exactly.
that's kind of how it is.
Yeah. And as I always say, leave no fucking trace, man. That's the way.
Yep.
That's the way. All right, bro. Well, if people want to keep following your journey, even though you're in recovery
Yeah.
mode right now, let them know where they can
Yeah.
find you.
You can follow my journey right now. It's a slow journey. I'm in the slow lane. Um, I have handicap parking, but it's temporary. So just bear with me. But again, I got a lot of photos. My name's Timothy Neer. You can follow me on Instagram at Timstagraph. I've been doing it a long time, but being able to share the stories and hang out with the people that you care about is really what matters the most. So I appreciate everybody listening, and I appreciate you, Kay, for how you operate.
Thank you, bro.
I think you're more
Appreciate that.
focused on the art rather than the bullshit,
Yeah.
and I can see that a mile away. So I appreciate you, and thanks for having me.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah.
Well, friends, that was a beautiful episode of the No Tracers podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I loved catching up with Tim. Sucks that he got fucking injured, but he'll be back. He'll be like running back into buildings in no time. Well, it'll be a couple months, but you know, we aren't done with this, and we love this till the end. We just got to do life stuff sometimes, you know, and I hope people understand that and can respect that and know that I still am here, guys. I am not going anywhere. There may be long breaks in between episodes. There may be long breaks in between urban exploring videos and trips and things, but that's just because I got to do life shit too. You know, I don't make money doing urban exploring. I just love the shit, just like you guys. And, I appreciate you listening to this episode. I really hope you enjoyed it. And again, I'm sorry for being gone for a minute, but thank you for sticking around, and I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you want to come on the No Tracers podcast, hit me up, contact@notracers.com or no.tracers on Instagram. Let me know in the comments, because you can leave comments on Spotify who you would like to hear on the show. And let me know what you are looking forward to exploring this winter. Maybe tell me your favorite spot you've explored in the comments. You know, just let's have a conversation. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of the No Tracers podcast. I am so glad that I got to do this episode with Tim. It was a great guest episode, and I can't wait to do more. Thank you guys again. Stay strong, keep enduring, go out, go explore something, and as always, leave no trace.